Nancy Drew Midnight in Salem. The long-awaited addition to the HerInteractive series is coming to us this month, but has had its fair share of trials. What took HerInteractive so long to release its 33rd game in its popular series? We'll get into that and a lot more on this Nancy Drew podcast. Midnight in Salem was originally slated to be released much sooner than its current date of November 19, 2019. On August 19, 2015, HerInteractive announced that Midnight in Salem would be delayed until fall of 2016 due to them switching to the Unity engine and the launch of Codes and Clues. Nancy Drew Codes and Clues was a series for children ages 5 through 8 for iOS, Android, and Kindle tablets published by a company called Hi Kids, spelled H-I, not, you know. The series stars an 8-year-old Nancy and teaches users coding and programming skills. At the mention of VR, many people were concerned. Nancy Drew games have always been point and click with a very limited range of motion. Making a game VR compatible doesn't really make sense if the mechanics of the game are inherently limited. Additionally, this seemed like just another way to make money without really working on aspects of the games people enjoyed so much. It has been reported that Midnight in Salem will have a bigger range of motion, but time will tell if that change is significant enough to have warranted VR. On May 1st, 2019, HerInteractive announced that Midnight in Salem was scheduled to be released on November 19th, 2019. Pre-orders were set to begin on October 1st, but at the beginning of the month, HerInteractive announced that pre-orders would be delayed for 2 weeks. With the November 19th deadline soon approaching, I can't help but fear that HerInteractive is not going to be ready. In the October newsletter, someone from HerInteractive with the handle Little Jackalope, which I'm assuming is either a reference to Tale of the Twister or maybe they just like mythical rabbits, said the following. Creating a new game on a new engine with a new user interface, a new inventory, new animations, new puzzles, new navigation, and more, this delay makes the most sense from our standing. Mid, meaning Midnight in Salem, is looking terrific, but there are a lot of things to polish and perfect to ensure a great playing experience. We don't want the game crashing or broken logic leaving you wondering what to do, or characters to say something that you haven't asked them about yet, which is a common problem in Nancy Drew games, although I will note that Sea of Darkness really didn't have that. And we want you to be able to finish the game without getting blocked from accomplishing the next task on your task list. We do apologize for the extended wait, but I can honestly say this one is the one that is worth it. Pretty bold words coming from Little Jackalope. Some folks were satisfied with this response to their questions, but it still left many thinking that HerInteractive was maybe going out of business. Reddit and other platforms for members of the Nancy Drew community have been speculating this for a while now, since the turnover of staff a while back, that HerInteractive was going to be drastically different from the company that they were used to. The biggest loss to the community was famed actor Lanny Minella no longer voicing Nancy Drew. Minella has been on a ton of stuff, including Mass Effect, World of Warcraft, Mortal Kombat. The list goes on and on for her, and she seems to really enjoy what she does. My guess is that some people at HerInteractive wanted a younger person to play Nancy, especially if they are trying hard to get younger audiences with what they put out. According to IMDb, which take that as you will, Manila is 60. Voice actors can obviously make themselves sound younger or older, so it's possible she just wanted to do something else, or maybe there were artistic disagreements, or who knows, maybe there's a deep conspiracy where HerInteractive is hiding government secrets and she's been a CIA agent this whole time, but her cover was blown. I don't know. Regardless, it's big news. This is going to be loosely based off of Witch Tree Symbol, which was the 33rd installment in the original Carolyn Keene Nancy Drew books from the 50s. I'm assuming that there's going to be a great deal of divergence, but it is interesting to note that this is the 33rd game from HerInteractive as well, so those numbers match up. This is just the synopsis Wikipedia has. When a neighbor asks Nancy Drew to accompany her to an old uninhabited mansion, a new mystery opens up, and danger lurks on the second floor. How specific. Nancy finds a witch tree symbol that leads her to Pennsylvania Dutch County in pursuit of a cunning and ruthless thief. The friendly welcome the young detective and her friends Bess and George receive from the Amish people soon changes to hostility when it is rumored that Nancy is a witch. Superstition helps her adversary in his attempt to keep her off his trail. But Nancy does not give up. She persistently uncovers one clue after another. Nancy's intelligence and sleuthing ability finally lead to the solution of this puzzling case. I don't remember what the actual witch tree symbol is. I think it's just like an X on a tree. I don't think it's like any more elaborate than that. I think they're just like, well, that's a hex sign, which, if I recall, is just an X in the tree. But maybe someone could correct me on that. Yeah, it's been a while, and I would love to reread the witch tree symbol, but I do not have a copy. So we've talked about the changes that we can expect in Midnight at Salem, and we reviewed the timeline and some of the speculation that surrounds it. But let's get into what this game is actually about. Nancy Drew unexpectedly finds herself in Salem, Massachusetts, investigating an arson at the Hawthorne estate. The Hawthorne house was originally constructed by Judge John Hawthorne, inquisitor of the infamous Salem witch trials, and the final home to 102-year-old Francis Tuttle, his last direct descendant. When Tuttle passed away, the estate became city property, and while the mayor was seeking a manager to oversee the estate, the home burst into flames. The ongoing investigation has turned up little evidence, but concerned citizens have accused what I'm assuming her name is pronounced May Perry of arson, and are pressuring the police to arrest the secretive teenager. As an the secretive teenager. As Nancy races to uncover the truth behind the arson, she discovers connections to the house's past with the Salem trials and finds herself drawn into a struggle with supernatural events that she simply cannot explain. Nancy's convictions are put to the test. Are the ghosts real? Has Salem's dark history come to life? Or is there someone else to blame? Time is short, and Nancy must find the answers before the clock strikes midnight. Spooky! HerInteractive does make some scary games. If you go on their website, they give you their list for the top 5. My personal number 1 would be Nancy Drew Ghost of Thornton Hall. I really think Ghost of Thornton Hall does a good job with making you, try and figure out exactly what it is that you're seeing. Are you seeing a ghost? How could you explain it? Nancy Drew Shadow at the Water's Edge is there, listed number 1. Nancy Drew Ghost of Thornton Hall is number 2. Curse of Blackmore Manor as number 3. That one is a good one. That is also a scary one, I'd say. And then Message in a Haunted Mansion and Ghost Dog of Moon Lake. And those are much earlier uh, games. I definitely think that this will be joining the ranks of some of the scarier games I think that they'd have. They gave a character rundown, very in-depth description and kind of like backstory for these people. May Perry has spent her young life pulled between two extremes, the near-crushing protective attention by her parents and sister Tegan, and the cruel gazes and whispers by the local townfolk. May's mysterious past haunts her when she's accused and placed under questioning by the Salem police for the recent fire at the Hawthorne estate. Judge Danforth, a well-established yet somewhat scatterbrained Judge Danforth, is at the center of pressing legal battles in the town of Salem. Jason Danforth, who is his son. He enjoys being the it guy in town by being both wealthy and handsome. Some say Jason is his own biggest fan. Rude. Probably accurate, though. Alicia Cole, a qualified attorney who left the big city to work with the soon-be retired Judge Danforth. Lauren Holt, the last living person residing on the Hawthorne property. Lauren claims to be the heir of historic Hawthorne House. Lauren owns an apothecary and tea shop. Which they didn't add that. I added that. Tegan Perry, May's older sister. Olivia Ravencraft, which is a very spooky, cool last name. Constantly commanding the spotlight, Olivia Ravencroft. Oh, they changed the name. It used to be Jenna Ravencraft, and now it's Olivia Ravencroft. Interesting. Runs a witch tour and novelty magic shop. Of course, we have Deirdre Shannon. Deirdre is going to be, she was teased at the end of the Sea of Darkness. So what I think happened was they knew that they weren't going to have the same voice actor for Nancy. So they're like, put Deirdre for the majority of the talking because she's giving Nancy a phone call and she's like, "My friend, they need help. We're running out of time." And there's like a very cheesy hand that comes up on a window and it's like very ominous, but that was the little teaser that they gave us at the end of Sea of Darkness, which now it makes sense that they kept it so unbelievably like kind of vague and had Deirdre doing most of the talking. But it will be curious to see what her role in this is. She's kind of Nancy's enemy turned friend, reluctant friend. But it appears that she is the one who is calling in Nancy because she is friends with May and Tegan, who are her cousins. So as Bess and George are Nancy's, May and Tegan are Deirdre's cousins. There's always kind of like a dichotomy going on between Deirdre and Nancy about how they're like kind of two sides of a coin. So that'll be cool. That'll be interesting for it to explore. I hope they go a little bit further with that. I will add that the Hardy Boys were rumored to be characters in 2015, when before they initially delayed the game. Uh, they had said that, oh, like they will or maybe they won't, you'll have to wait. But in 2019, Her Interactive did confirm on Twitter this year that the Hardy Boys will be in this game with an updated design. They appear as in-person characters, so not just on the phone, which is going to be really exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing that character design. And I always really enjoy like the new art and stuff, and like comparing like what people have drawn to what appears on your computer screen. Ultimately, Midnight in Salem looks like it is going to be a lot of fun. I am perhaps concerned because of the amount of delays. And usually, when something has this many like fingers in it, and fingers in the pie, and a lot of different people with a lot of different voices, and kind of creative liberties being transferred over to different people, uh, the story gets kind of lost. So you see it a lot in movies where it's a big budget movie and they're like, oh, well, we want to put in this character. And oh, they switch producers and they switch. And it's like, I don't want this to be a game that looks like five different companies made it and then pushed it together. Like one chapter looks like it was made by so and so, one bit looks like it was made by so and so. I really want it to be a cohesive story. And I think by now, there's really not an excuse if it's not. It's been like 4 years. But at the same time, I do sympathize because a lot of times, like people doing the design and writing the story and, you know, making like crossing over to the Unity platform and just stuff like that. It's not, if one person was making every call, that would be one thing. But it's a lot of different moving parts. And I think that this is not the last one that we'll see. I think Her Interactive will continue to make a few more. I don't think it'll take this long at all. I think they'll pump them out much faster. Um, I think we're going to see a change, and I think that that is a good thing. But it is a good thing just because it kind of it needs to happen. You need to be able to move and grow with a market that is moving and growing, so long as you don't ultimately kind of lose sight of what you were trying to accomplish in the first place. And doing things like making things unnecessarily in VR or adding expansion packs or anything like that kind of always makes me a little wary. But just a week and 1 day from this recording that it's going to be out. Um, I'll hopefully upload this before then. Uh, and I am excited. I'm excited to play it, to get my hands on it, and give it a full review. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to give a like and leave a comment.